Hey, if you're ever looking for the link for this service and you're having trouble finding it, it's always on the front page of the website and the Facebook page, so you can visit there for sure. I wanted to celebrate the fact that with the leadership of our Borders and Beyond group and others, the congregation successfully sent 4,000 Reclaim Our Vote postcards out to try and get disenfranchised voters to take a stand this year. So wonderful, amazing job. Congratulations and well done. You can join a neighborhood group if you haven't, or a Soul Matters discussion group. If you want to learn more about that, get in touch with me or Katie Treeler this week, or Jan Ogren, or call the office and we'll get you hooked up. A great way to stay connected outside of worship with people in the congregation. Wanted to give credit to our beautiful song that will come up later, One Voice. The singers are Cathy, Sally Jones, and Susan Pantea making her return, with Robert Hausman on guitar and Alan Bell on the video. And that prelude that you just heard, Roger Corman played all the parts, including that beautiful cello on his keyboard. Last but not least, my computer can't decide if tomorrow is Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day. Indigenous Peoples Day, and let's pause just to reflect on the meaning of that and the fact that we do live on the ancestral lands of the Pomo and the Miwok people, and appreciate their culture and the gift of this place with gratitude. I think that's all the business we have. So as always, with the lighting of our chalice, let's begin our time of worship together.
Good morning. This morning our chalice will be lit by Reverend Chris, and the words are by the Reverend Scott Taylor. Always a voice arises. What is it about this flame that opens our ears, opens our hearts? Come back to your center, it calls. Return to that quiet space we long for and that longs for us. From this stillness, always a voice arises if we let it. So come, friends, let us listen once again. Let us find that flame inside.
Giving
We're going to do a responsive opening reading, even though we won't be able to hear you responding. I'm going to put the words up on the screen. Cathy and I will take turns reading the bold, and then we'll all read the italics together. This is from our hymnal. If you have your hymnal handy, it's 532 by Ernesto Cardenal, called The Music of the Spheres. The music of the spheres.
A harmonious universe like a harp. Its rhythms are the equal, repeated seasons, the beating of the heart. Day, night, the going and returning of migratory birds.
The cycles of stars and corn.
The mimosa that unfolds by day and folds up again by night. Rhythms of moon and tide, one single rhythm in planets, atoms, sea, and apples that ripen and fall, and in the mind of Newton.
Melody, accord, arpeggios, the harp of the universe, unity behind apparent multiplicity.
That is the music.
And now we're going to get ready for the time for all ages, as we always do, by singing our 7 principles. One, each person is worthwhile. 2, be kind in all you do. 3, let's help each other grow. 4, keep searching for the truth. 5, each person has a say. 6, work for a peaceful world. 7, the web of life's the way that will bring us back to you, you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Time for All Ages. It's so wonderful to be here again with all of you. This week in RE, we have been discussing what it means to be represented. And one of the ways we found through this was through your name, and through singing your name, and through song. Today we read the story, Your Name is a Song by Jamila Bigelow Thompson, and it's a really beautiful story. We recorded it earlier, and I'm going to share it with you now. This is the story, Your Name is a Song by Jamila Bigelow, or Tompkins Bigelow. I'm not coming back ever again, the girl stomped. Please don't stomp unless we're stepping in a drill team, Mama said. Was your first day of school so bad? The girl looked down. No one could say my name. No one, not even your teacher, Mama asked. She tried. It got stuck in her mouth. A street musician swayed and played. Mama closed her eyes until she swayed to tell your teacher that your name is a song. The girl wrinkled her brows. I can't say that. Names aren't songs. Sure they are. Take my name. Olumude. Can you guys say that with me? Olumude.
Olumude.
Yeah. Olumude is a melody, girl, and so is Cotone. The girl whispered the names. Tap to tap went her feet. Mamadou. Ooh, I love that one. Mamadou. Tandolwetu stretches out like a love song. Yes, girl, names are songs. Sing your name. Your teacher will learn to sing it too. The girl did a jig as they walked on. But then her feet slowed. Umi, she called to her mama. During snacks, some girl pretended to choke on my name. Oh, I love that name, Umi. Can you guys say it too? Umi. Umi. At the red light, a car boomed hip-hop beside them. The bass pounded from their head to their toes, even in their chests. Pat, pat, pat. Mama patted her chest. Tell those girls some names must be said from here, not the throat. Names come from your heart? The girl asked. Say the name. Ha! Can you guys say it too? Ha! Nice. From there, you got to go deeper to say Ahlam. As they crossed, the girl touched her chest. Juana is here. Ngozi goes deeper. It pokes me in the stomach. Yes, girl, from your heart, say your name. Those girls will learn to use their hearts too. The girl bopped to the beat as they walked on. In art, one boy's eyes got all wide when I said my name. Is my name scary? Wires sparked above a streetcar, and Mama and the girl jumped back, startled. Mama put a calming hand on the girl's shoulder. Tell that boy some names have fire. You can put fire in a name? Kweku. Ooh, let's say that one together. Kweku.
Kweku.
Nice. Storms in on a Wednesday and fire dances in Sagnika, Mama said. Names are that strong? The girl asked. Siomara fights a battle in your mouth. Tongues bow to say Bilkis. Julong lunges like a dragon, and Udam is magnificent. The girl's lips trembled. Yes, girl, just like you. On her toes, the girl rose and kicked as they walked on. What about the kids at recess who said my name sounds made up? Mama pointed up. Tell them that made-up names come from there. From the sky? The girl asked. Made-up names come from dreamers. Their real names were stolen long ago, so they dream up new ones. They make a way out of no way, make names out of no names, pull them from the sky. The girl reached up to pull the names too. Tajay and Trayvon, they sit on clouds with Jalante. Tajay, Trayvon, Jalante. All so beautiful. Mama nodded, and Laquan and Lamika are the twinkle in stars, the glimmer in minds that think and tinker. Are these names new songs? The girl asked. Yes, girl, tell everybody to learn new songs too. The girl twirled and leapt to the sky, and they walked on. The next day, the girl didn't want to go to school, but she had songs to teach. Line up, Miss Anderson hollered. The girl looked to the sky. She saw dreams and fire there. Miss Anderson hollered names. Benjamin, tap, tap, went the girl's feet. Here. Siobhan, to tap. Here. Olivia, to tap, tap. Here. The girl stopped. Her name was getting stuck in Miss Anderson's mouth again. The girl sang, Miss Anderson. The whole class stared. What are you doing? Miss Anderson asked. I'm singing my name so you'll learn it. Names are not songs, Miss Anderson huffed. Miss Anderson, sang the girl. Miss Anderson frowned. Your name is a pretty song, said the girl. Miss Anderson's frown slowly turned into a smile. Why, thank you. What about me? Bob asked. What's my song? The girl belted out, Bob. Other kids asked for songs too. She sang and sang their names. Miss Anderson asked, could we hear your song again? The girl sang her name. The teacher sang it back. One kid sang it, then another and another. Everyone sang her name. Cora Jali Muso. Let's all say that one together. Cora Jali Muso.
Ora Jolly Muso.
Cora Jali Muso. It was music to her ears. If you would like, I would encourage you now to sing your name to yourself and just let it feel special and let it be there. Even if you can't sing, I personally can't, let that song guide you and be there for you. All right, and now let's do our unison affirmation. Everyone, get your U's ready. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. Thank you so much, everyone. And now up next, we have Reverend Chris sharing a video.
You mean Reverend Chris? Thank you. Actually, we're going to hear from Tamara Murrell of the Advocates for Social Justice, talking about this week's recipient of the Share the Basket, which we're doing again. Michael will get that ready. A reminder that you give by going to the website and just clicking on the Give Now, follow the instructions. You'll pull down to Share the Basket with organizations if you want to give money to today's recipient, who we're going to hear about right now.
Hi, I'm Tamara Murrell and a member of the Advocates for Social Justice Committee. Our congregation is sharing our offering this week with the Russian River Alliance Workforce Fund. The Workforce Fund provides grants to support and retain local area workers who live in the lower Russian River area. The fund assists with rental assistance, utilities, and other emergency needs to prevent homelessness. 80% of the local workforce works in the low-wage service and hospitality industry. After the floods of February 2019, the Russian River Alliance provided food gift cards and immediate assistance to local workers and families displaced from their homes, as well as those workers temporarily furloughed due to closure of local businesses. Amazing work. And their work continues. As Jen Wirtz of Russian River Alliance recently told me, we're getting really good at dealing with disasters. Here is a short video clip which highlights their work and a few folks who have recently been served by the Workforce Fund. So please, give generously as you are able. Thank you.
And we take the whole Sunday collection now for these outside organizations supporting ourselves just through our pledges and donations. Please go to our uusantarosa.org website, click on Give Now, and let's share our gifts as we are able. Turns out Tamara is also one of our lay chaplains and will share the milestones with us.
Hi, I'm Tamara Murrell, one of your lay chaplains. Milestones are where we share our joys and sorrows with the congregation. You're invited to light a candle to remember those you are holding near to your hearts. These are the milestones for this week and last week. The Olney family is very happy right now. Ian Olney, who graduated from Sonoma State in June, under COVID conditions has found a real job right here in Sonoma County. It includes benefits and a company car. Ian started his job this week as a consulting resource forester. If you want to know what a resource forester does, no, he will not be raking the forest floor. He hikes along distribution power lines and identifies trees to be trimmed. He also identifies active, inactive nesting sites that could be affected by tree work, plus identifies hazardous trees that are damaged or sick and could fall on power lines. Jamie Kerr and her husband Doug celebrate 42 years of pure, unconditional love this week. Jamie also reports that wonderful Olga Lee Mayberry turned 93 October 6th. Whole bunches of cyber hugs, love, and blessings to you, Olga. Jamie also asks, my African-American brother is having surgery this week. His name is Hal. My dear congregation, kindly include him in your prayers, please. Debbie Belansky writes, this Sunday and Monday, I will be visiting my younger sister from Albuquerque in Santa Cruz. It is especially important to me because she has been fighting cancer this last year. She is holding her own. Prayers and well wishes are appreciated. From Peggy Spofford. October 7th is the second anniversary of my grandson's death. We all miss him dearly. My son is taking some of Ryan's ashes to place at a waterfall in southern Colorado. He had always wanted to visit them, but never got a chance. Mike McGurr reported that David Jones wrote, my spouse, Don Williams, comes home from the hospital tomorrow after 3.5 weeks recuperation. He fell on a hiking trail in Marin County September 6, which resulted in a cracked pelvis and staples to close a wound on top of his head. Due to COVID, hospital beds were not immediately available, and we waited 5 days. Finally, a bed opened up in a facility 50 miles from where we live. Thanks to everybody who sent good thoughts and healing energy. Home care begins tomorrow. Sarita Hazan shared, I wanted to let those of you know who know that the Monon Reels community, a kind of sister project to Santa Rosa Creek Commons off St. Helena Road, was destroyed by fire last week. Fellow UUs Paul Marking and his wife Megan Den lived there for years until they moved down to our co-op, and they still had a small unit there. This is a huge loss for them and all those who called it home and beloved community. And from Terry Graham, our universal milestone is that we are endeavoring to persevere in 2020. If you have something to share with all or a private concern to talk over with a lay chaplain, please contact us at laychaplains@uusantarosa.org. We give thanks for the sharing of these milestones, for how they remind us of our shared humanity and our common fate, and inspire our compassion and care. May all our joys be magnified as we delight together in the good news. May all our sorrows be eased as we carry them together in community. May you who are searching for courage, comfort, faith, and hope find what you seek. And may all people grow in wisdom, compassion, and love, that the whole world might live with justice and in peace. Be safe, be well.
Thanks, Tamara. To which I would just add a couple additional milestones that kind of came in since the video was made. One that most folks would have seen on the focus list perhaps, which is that our dear McCartys, Sharon and Joe, are going to be moving away to Bellingham, Washington, after many, many years in Santa Rosa and a number of years of being extraordinary members and gifts to our community here. Sharon still got a final reflection in her come Christmas time, so we're not going to really say goodbye yet, but we're wishing you very much well in that process, and glad to hear that Dappers has a home. It is this past weekend, as some of you I'm sure felt deeply in your bodies, the 3rd anniversary of the Tubbs fire that started this last wave and was so horrifyingly destructive. And it's a tricky time of year for me personally as well. My mother died on October 9th, the date of those fires. But then my niece was born that day and my sister was born yesterday. And so it's a rich time, October, in my heart. And one last thing to share with you from Reverend Dara, who writes, "Dear ones, it was a deep, abiding joy to see so many UUCSR folks at the revival recently. It filled me with gladness to see you. I miss you and am sending tremendous care. And I also wanted to share with you some very joyful recent news of a personal nature. I am thrilled to share with you that Pete, Micah, and I are expecting a new little one in March. I am pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Dara is pregnant. Stay with me here. She continues, 2020 has been undoubtedly filled with surprises. So many of them have been difficult. This one is very joyful. Truth be told, Pete and I had been hoping for a new little one for several years. We started to make peace with the notion that it was not going to occur. And lo. Dear ones, I carry you in my heart and I'm glad we're all neighbors. I look forward to seeing you soon when the opportunity arises. For now, I send deep care to each of you from Reverend Dara." So good and happy news. All right, I'm going to invite you to join me in a brief prayer, and then we're going to sing together before we go into meditation, Voice Still and Small. I'll share the words on the screen. Spirit of life, we are grateful for this chance to gather and to be together in this unusual form, grateful for the blessings of community, for friends and close ones to share our joys and our sorrows with, to be lifted up by, and to help lift up. We give thanks for this day, for everything that makes it possible for us to be together, for all the bounties of nature, for blue skies and clear skies. We give thanks for the unfolding opportunities for young people among us, and pray for the many among us who need healing or comfort as they recover from injury. I lift up Justin, John and Carol's son-in-law, and his continuing healing journey. Deborah Mason, our former DRE, still battling her cancer. I lift up everyone who is struggling with COVID-19, whether themselves or in their families, and pray for swift healing and for a good and rapid insight on the part of the scientists trying to find a vaccine. In these dangerous times, I pray for all of those who are working to keep our elections safe and sound, and I pray for an outcome that leads to justice and peace in this nation and beyond. Pray today for all who are lonely and isolated because of the pandemic, that they might feel the connection we share here and the connection with you, great Spirit of love. I lift up in particular those who are grieving over the loss of Murrell, a beautiful community, and for all those who are grieving. May the song of nature be heard again. May the song of our own name strengthen us. And may all the gifts of the Spirit shine in everyone's life. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing in storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
Listening, really listening to another person can be hard sometimes. I think listening takes practice and requires attentiveness, courage, and a healthy dose of faith in yourself. When I learned that today's service was all about listening for the root note, I started thinking about a listening and singing exercise I've done during warm-ups in several different choirs. I was a little puzzled by this train of thought, but I decided to follow it down the tracks and share some of those thoughts with you today. So this listening and singing exercise goes something like this. A chord is played on the piano, and you, the singer, are asked to sing the root chord back, the root note of that chord back. Not so hard. Another chord is played, maybe an inversion of the first chord, and you are asked to sing that first note you sang, the root note back. Still not so hard. More chords are played, maybe some arpeggios, maybe in the same key as that root note, maybe not. Each time you're asked to sing the original note, the root note back. More chords and arpeggios are played, increasingly dissonant, increasingly unrelated to the note you first sang. Then you're asked to sing the note back, the root note, the original note, and so on and so on. You get the idea. Of course, as what's being played in between becomes more and more complex, it gets harder and harder to sing back that root note. If you're really good at music theory, you might be able to listen for the tonal relationships between whatever is being thrown at you and that root note. I suppose if you have perfect pitch, it makes it easier. I don't have perfect pitch. The only way I can approach this exercise is to not only listen for that root note in all those chords and arpeggios, but also to feel the note when I sing it. Feel where it vibrates in my larynx and where it vibrates in my body, and remember what it feels like to sing that note. This is not a conscious process. It involves body memory, concentration, and a leap of faith, all in a split second. If I try too hard or think about it too much, it doesn't work. As with any kind of listening and discerning, if I am tired or don't feel well or am distracted, the exercise goes poorly and I'm unable to hold on to that root note. It may be hard to pay attention to how that note feels in my body and in my ears. Like any kind of exercise, it gets better with practice. And like most things, sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't. To me, this exercise is a great metaphor for how challenging it can be for us to truly listen to and hear each other. What needs to happen for me to listen? I mean, really listen to someone else, and for that person to feel heard. And why is it so hard sometimes? Well, there's so much dissonant noise out there in the world, now more than ever. So much pain, so much separation, physical, emotional, experiential. Trying to listen can just be exhausting. Speaking for myself, there's plenty of internal noise going on as well, a good bit of the time. Anxiety, fear, defensiveness, which can also get in the way of truly listening. It can be hard to listen through all that. And when the person being listened to is angry or frustrated or defensive or expressing their pain in ways that are dangerous or harmful to others, it can be a tall order to listen for what might be underneath all that. But there usually is something else underneath all that. A pain, a longing, an unmet need. It can be hard to hear that root note of the person's emotional experience beneath all the noise, to allow it to resonate. When faced with that, it's hard to quiet my own internal dialogue and set aside the story I'm telling myself and simply pay attention. I do think that quieting and listening and allowing that root note to resonate is what opens the door to empathy. And I believe that deep listening is only possible when empathy is present. Empathy is often written and talked about using terms borrowed from music, which makes perfect sense to me. Dr. Daniel Siegel writes, when we attune with others, we allow our own internal state to shift, to come to resonate with the inner world of another. Maybe as in that listening and singing exercise I talked about, empathic attunement happens when we're able to feel the emotional experience of the other within ourselves, to quiet the internal noise long enough to notice where another's experience vibrates in our emotional and physical body, and remember that feeling for ourselves. Maybe listening deeply requires, ironically, not only deep attention to the other, but deep attention to the self. And as in that singing exercise, if you think about it too much, it doesn't work. And if you're tired or sick or scared, it can make it that much harder to tune in. And let's face it, empathic engagement with another can be quite painful. Opening one's heart to another's suffering can be overwhelming. That's why I think that really listening for me sometimes requires courage and faith that I can hold whatever that root note is sounding for me and in me. And as painful as it can be to listen from the heart, it's not nearly as painful as the separateness that results from not listening and not being heard. When the root note, the essence and meaning of the other's experience is heard and understood, both the listener and the listened to may find themselves fundamentally transformed. And in closing, I just would say, may I have the courage and the calm and the faith to listen for the root note.
Thank you, Cathy. That's wonderful. Of all the joys and wonder of living for me, and they are many, music is the most fascinating and compelling thing in the world. Music is a thing like the great big thing is a thing, which is to say, more of a verb, something you do rather than something you can hang on to. But listening to it, making it, hearing how it works and goes together, being inspired by it in so many different forms, I have come to believe that really music is the most sacred thing that people have, I'll say, discovered, not invented. And I share the feeling of one of the great Sufi teachers, Imayat Khan. He wrote a classic book called The Mysticism of Sound and Music, where he basically argues music is, in fact, the image, the very picture of what he calls our beloved, the spirit of life, the god or the goddess, the true nature of things. And it is because music is a picture of the beloved that we love music. Music is the name of God being sung to us. And I came to this, I am grateful because I had parents, my mom and stepdad, who really appreciated music. And in my mom's case, actually made music with the church choir and the bell choir, which I still have a soft spot for, and on the piano, which she also made me try to learn. And I had a number of early exposures to music that really stick with me, even today, which is odd for someone whose memory is so poor as a general rule. I remember the time of hearing a version of Beethoven's Ninth sung by the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus because my grandfather was in that chorus. And I remember getting Tommy by the Who on my 12th birthday. But maybe the most enduring, to this day, salient, alive, enduring musical memories of my life came when I was in high school, sophomore in high school, driving to Chicago in this rented decked out like cruiser van, the kind that had the seats in the back that were real soft and revolved and so forth. And my stepfather was driving me and 3 other kids to Chicago to meet up with another group of folks. And we were all going to Germany the next day, which of course I was very excited about. And it was raining. The traffic was moving very slowly. The rain was just pouring down. The van had an amazing sound system. And we listened to In Search of the Lost Chord by the Moody Blues, if anyone knows that record, their best record. It's trippy as can be. All kinds of mystical songs, a song about Timothy Leary, voices in the sky, visions of paradise. And I can put myself back in that spot. Something about the rain, the brilliant loud sound, the reverb and the mellotron on the record. And it was just like a perfect artistic reception moment. If you've had anything like that, where what you were hearing and how you were feeling came so perfectly together. I actually count that day as a moment of awakening, and it began, thanks to that song on Timothy Leary. I have to argue the beginning of my psychedelic journeying, even if I didn't formally get underway for another 6 or 7 years. And the penultimate song on that record is a little poem. And Graham Edge says, "This garden universe vibrates complete. Some we get a sound so sweet." And it goes on. 2 notes of the chord, that's our full scope. But to reach the chord is our life's hope. And to name the chord is important to some, so they give it a word. And the word is Om. Om, or Aum sometimes, O-M-A-U-M. And the ancient teachings of Hinduism and Sikhism and Sufism and to some extent Buddhism would tell us this very sound, Om, is the root note of the whole universe. It is the sound of the universe, that it captures the sound within all sound. It is the root note of all chords in all keys. Om, Aum. If you've ever read the Upanishads, and I hope you will someday if you haven't, really, Om features prominently in there. It's a strange, epic hymns of praise toward just this single syllable that in its 3 parts, Aum, and silence, is said to capture the entire universe itself, from waking consciousness to dreamless sleep and to absolute silence and union with God, all in a simple sound. Aum. And I thought it might be an interesting brief experiment, since it's only 1 note and everybody has been saying how much they miss us. If you will unmute yourself and join me in chanting Om. Just gonna find the tone and see what that sounds like with all of us together. Kind of work. Sounds like we might be overloading Zoom a little bit. Oh, it feels good to hear your voices on that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know about you, but it feels good to do that. Like you can feel it in your body. You can feel the vibrations going down. Oh, that deep resonance. And the claim of these mystics and these traditions is that this tone is in and through everything that is. But the beauty of the universe is if that was the only sound, if the only sound was of a single unity that never changed, the world would be boring. It might resonate, it might feel good, but eventually, somewhere around the 9-hour mark of Om, you might want to add some harmonic tones. Om expresses the unity in the ground of being, but it's not music. Music requires the interplay between notes. And that's where chords, as Cathy was talking about so wonderfully, become a useful metaphor for us to think about how, grounded in the ground of being and the rich reality of the universe itself, we can nevertheless relate to different people and different ideas and different energies. I think chords and the melodies that play in and through them are an expression of life itself. Now, a chord, some of you know, but maybe not everybody, is one of the basic building blocks of music. The simplest have 2 notes, but most have 3. Some have 4 or 5, and their different combinations result in different emotional resonances, and we even provide kind of different meanings to them. I'll just give a quick example, because to me, this is one of the wonders of existence. And if music, which means chords, is the very image of the beloved, a way we can access it, it's worth opening our hearts and our minds to how music and hearing and listening work for us. So here's one of those little wonders of existence. Almost everybody in the world would hear this chord as basically positive. It's basically kind of a happy sound. And almost everybody in the world will hear this chord, which is only changed by 1/2 step, somehow sad or ominous or worrying. And that's simply the difference between E major and E minor. And there are many, many others where just the subtlest little difference makes the difference. It's something wonderful, mysterious, and telling, and our shared responses to these chords. And I think life is like that. There's a root note, and then there's all these other notes. And the wonder of music is that it can teach us how to deal with even those notes that maybe for the moment we weren't hearing. I used to listen to a lot of what might be called difficult music. Rita used to call it squeaky music. Fair enough, like free jazz, and I had a kind of industrial music phase, which is music made with like power saws and lots of drums, and it reflected inner turmoil that I was experiencing and my displeasure with the world around me at the time. But one thing I've discovered is even in the midst of the noisiest music, things tend to come around and they resolve and they relate in a way that indicates a deeper harmony. So that even now, when the pandemic or our politics feel so discordant, this is like a chord, like a weird 7th chord with flatted second or something like that that feels like, yeah, but it too has its place in the song. And it will, in the end, resolve. It does have a root note that it relates to. And in the midst of trouble and confusion, we, by opening our hearts, our ears to each other, to music, to beauty, to the world around us, can listen for that root note and find that deeper harmony, that endless song. If you think about it, all of existence is a form of vibration and rhythm, its breath and beat like those opening words spoke of. And that's why, as again Inayat Khan, the Sufi, said, among all the different arts, the art of music has been specially considered divine. It is the exact miniature of the law working through the whole universe. If we study ourselves, we find that the beats of the pulse and the heart, the inhaling and exhaling of the breath, are the work of rhythm. Life depends upon the rhythmic working of the whole. Breath manifests as voice, as word, as sound, and that sound is audible, the sound within and the sound without. That is music, which shows that there is music and divinity both outside and inside ourselves. That's the only thing the Moody's got wrong on that brilliant record. The chord is not lost. It's never lost. It's the music of the spheres, and our voices and our ears are naturally drawn to that deeper harmony if we quiet down and listen. Maybe we'll also hear the sound of Om when we hear the sound of our own voices raised in songs of praise and protest. And now we listen, and now we sing.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to
Our closing words are by Reverend Barbara Hamilton Holway. Go now in peace, deeply regard each other, truly listen to each other, speak what each of you must speak. Be ready in any moment to disarm your own heart and always live as if a realm of love had begun. So be it. Blessed be. Amen.
And we have a final treat for you as the postlude. Our dear Roger found a recording of the whole congregation singing together. And in honor of this last weekend's weather, please enjoy.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling! I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds dark up above. The sun's in my heart, and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds shake everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing in the rain. I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling! I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark above. The sun's in my heart, and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, there's a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing in the rain.